Secretary Rollins says, oh, by the way, Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of Agriculture, she says the Democrat shutdown, quote, has given us a platform to completely deconstruct the SNAP program and make sure those vulnerable Americans who really need that program are going to get it, and they'll protect the taxpayers as well.
Hey, I have a handy dandy chart. I was getting to the affordability piece of SNAP. Almost 40% increase under Joe Biden of what was spent in the people that entered the food stamp/SNAP program. That's 40%. Of course, they were working to buy the election. But what we have seen and what Doge and our amazing team at USDA, 186,000 dead people are receiving SNAP benefits.
Yeah, listen to that. And look, she's a government official, for crying out loud. She's the Secretary of Agriculture. So, and I'm pretty sure the Department of Agriculture, they oversee food stamps. They oversee the federal SNAP benefits program. Over 100,000 people who are dead are getting food stamps, for crying out loud. Plus the 40% increase is absolutely insane, which it just so happens millions, actually tens of millions of illegal immigrants were flooding across the border during the Biden administration, the exact same time that there was a 40% increase in SNAP benefits. It wasn't like 40% of the workforce fell into poverty during the Biden administration. I know a lot of people did. A lot of people lost their jobs and you know, it was a bad time, but it doesn't justify or make sense that 40% increase was needed for the SNAP benefits program. It's insane.
500,000 people are getting paid twice. We've made hundreds of arrests. We have a lot.
Wait a minute. How many million?
But this twice. We've made hundreds of arrests. We have a lot. 500,000 people are getting paid twice.
500,000
twice. Hundreds of arrests. We have a lot more to do. But this was, I think, an unintended consequence of the Democrats shutting the government down for 43 days. Is it shined this very bright light on one of their pet programs, and now
Thank you,
given
Democrats.
us a platform to completely deconstruct the program, make sure those vulnerable Americans who really need that benefit are going to get it. And for all the rest of the fraudsters and the people who are corrupt and taking advantage of it, we're going to protect the taxpayer too.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, 42 million people are on the SNAP program. Do you really think 42 million people actually, like for real, really actually need it? I'm not saying that nobody needs it. I know there's a lot of people, especially seniors, people that have legitimate disabilities, especially. And yes, there are areas where it's almost impossible to find a good paying job, especially in certain large cities where, you know, you got to work anywhere you can find work. And there's a ton of jobs like in retail and clerical. And there's like a whole bunch of these jobs like where they just simply don't pay that much, fast food work. And yeah, I mean, yeah, there are some instances where there's a high cost of living, but somebody's got to do the job. So I'm not saying that only the disabled and only the elderly should be eligible for it. I'm just saying 42 million sounds like a pretty high number. All right, from the White House, rooting out fraud or waste, fraud, and abuse. From the Daily Wire, rooting out fraud, Trump administration to make food stamp recipients reapply for benefits. Did they link the article to the Daily Wire? They did. And we've got that right here. Okay, so, oh yeah, that's right. They paywall. Damn it. So anyway, we'll just get the beginning part of it. So the Trump administration is preparing to implement a sweeping and controversial overhaul of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly known as food stamps, an action officials describe as part of a broader effort to increase program integrity and eliminate what they characterize as widespread abuse. At the center of this initiative is a major requirement announced by Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Millions of low-income Americans will be required to reapply for food stamp benefits regardless of whether they've already enrolled or have been long-term recipients or have recently completed eligibility reviews at the state level. So let me just do one quick thing here and see if I can bring up the rest of this. I can't remember if this works for Daily Wire. I think it actually does. Could be wrong, though. Could be wrong. I think we got it. I think we're going to be good here. Okay. So Rollins outlined the plan during an interview on Newsmax, framing it as a necessary step to restore confidence in how federal taxpayer dollars are used. She said she plans to, quote, have everyone reapply for their benefits, make sure that everyone that's taken a taxpayer-funded benefit through food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it, end quote. Rollins has recalled that on the day she took office, she sent a letter to all 50 states saying that the federal government had never asked for the data before, but that it now needed the personal data, including names, dates of birth, social security numbers, and addresses of SNAP recipients. She said on X that she sent the letter, quote, so we could make sure illegal immigrants aren't getting benefits meant for American families, end quote. Adding, quote, the Democratic Party has turned its back on working Americans and built its entire strategy around protecting illegal aliens. Yeah, I would say in large part that is true. They know if the handouts stop, those illegals will go back home and Democrats will lose 20 plus seats after the next census. Yeah, I bet that's true. But yeah, also trying to make sure that people who, actually, it's as far as her saying that people that are actually vulnerable and they literally can't survive without it, that doesn't include people that's got, credit card bills to pay, or they've got a bunch of subscriptions they have to pay, or they've got an $800 car payment that they have to pay. No, you don't get food stamps if you got all these like high bills and all that shit. Like for people who legitimately actually need it, they cannot live without it. So anyway, quote, 29 states, mostly the red states, responded with their data sets February, March, and April. So the numbers that you're talking through, those are numbers that we have been collecting and analyzing since early summer, late spring, she said. The fact that this spotlight shined on Snap has allowed us to talk about it. But here's the most unbelievable news I have learned, really just over the last few days, that 5,000 dead people. That was just 1 month. The number is closer to 186,000 deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. The administration argues that this mass reapplication process is essential to combating what it calls systemic fraud and error in SNAP. So I guess arguably up to 186,000 people should be getting criminally indicted for what, like fraud or theft or who knows what. By reprocessing the entire recipient population, officials say they hope to remove ineligible participants, strengthen data accuracy, and reduce government spending. By placing the mandatory reapplication requirement at the center of the reforms, the administration seeks to redefine SNAP as a program reserved only for those who can clearly demonstrate acute need, reflecting a broader shift towards stricter eligibility enforcement. Amen. I am so glad they're doing this. And look, the public at large, they're going to be really glad that this is going to get rolled out also because, the majority of Americans, they don't want their tax money wasted, and they don't want it going to people who don't deserve to have it. It's only supposed to go to those who desperately need it. So, okay. Oh, yeah. I saw this earlier. I like this idea. I love American news. They left this meme for this post. Let's give EBT recipients MREs. That would be meals ready to eat. If it's good enough for the troops, it's good enough for them. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Which I'm sure for the military, they're dirt cheap. But if you buy one of these things on eBay, they're kind of expensive. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea, man. Just give them MREs. A bunch of MREs. Hilarious. Okay. Oh, Caroline Levitt. All SNAP recipients required to reapply as Trump administration cracks down on fraud. So it's on foxbusiness.com. It's a different source, different link. So that'll be in the description. We already got it from the last one. And from Katie Britt, President Trump and Senate Republicans want American families to keep more of their hard-earned money, and we want to drive American wages up. So we're moving on past the SNAP benefits at this point. By the way,
the president has floated this idea of sending Americans direct payments of $2,000 checks or more.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that at all.
Do you think that would pass muster with Congress?
I doubt it. Not under Trump.
Look, I sure hope so.
It would under Democrats.
Hope we take a look at these types of things and how we can make sure that the American people have more of their hard-earned money back in their pocket. And if you think about what President Trump has been doing overall, he wants to make sure that we onshore more jobs, that we drive up American wages. And the results of these negotiations are more money in Americans' pockets. That's what this has been about all along. Leveling the playing field, because President Trump knows that you can put Americans against anyone else in the world, and if we are on a level playing field, we will always win. And so being able to show the results to the American people, allowing them to keep more of their hard-earned money, I certainly hope that that's something that Congress takes a look at, and definitely I think that it would be something that the American people would receive well.
Look, the $2,000 obviously isn't going to be printed from nothing like it did during COVID, so it's going to be money that was originally labored over to be created in the first place. But the issue, at least in my opinion, is that if you give everybody $2,000 checks and they go spend money like crazy willy-nilly, it's going to create, in some areas, not all areas, but in some areas, it might create certain supply shortages, or it may incentivize the businesses to start charging more for certain products because there's a shorter supply of said product, and that could just drive up the cost of certain things. Not dramatically, but it might at least slightly. But I think just lowering the taxes in general would be better. than just instantly dropping $2,000 checks into the laps of everybody. Plus that money, put it into the principal of the debt. I think that's what they really should be doing with it. But I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that would argue against that. No, hell no, dude. Like that money should go to us. It should go directly to us because we're the American people and we pay taxes already. So why not give it to everybody? So I don't know. I get both sides of it.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.